Hello and welcome to the day ahead. It's Monday, October the 20th. I'm Andrew Gagan. Local market is set to open modestly lower this morning to begin the week, with ASX futures down just 7 points. Stocks in Europe turned negative on Friday, but risk sentiment improved later in the day when President Trump gave assurances that his proposed 100% tariff on Chinese imports would not be sustainable. That saw stocks on Wall Street end higher, while quarterly results from regional banks eased concerns about credit risks. For the week, the S&P 500 gained 1.7%, the Nasdaq rose more than 2%, and the Dow climbed around 1.5%. On Friday, the S&P Regional Banks Index climbed close to 2% after tumbling almost 6% the previous session, with Truist Financial gaining after the bank reported higher third quarter profit. And Zion shares rebounded from losses the day before to close around 6% higher. American Express raised the lower end of its 2025 profit and revenue forecast as its customers look past economic uncertainty and continued spending ahead of the holiday season. State Street dropped after the bank's third quarter net interest income missed estimates. Shares of Oracle fell after projecting its cloud infrastructure revenue would surge to $166 billion by fiscal 2030. And chipmaker Micron Technology's plans to stop supplying server chips to data centers in China, that's according to Reuters, after the business failed to recover from a 2023 government ban on its products. And Eli Lilly shares fell after President Trump said he would bring down prices of weight loss drugs. And among the companies reporting quarterly results this week are Tesla and Netflix. Well, President Trump has softened his threats of imposing 100% tariffs on Chinese exports, saying it's not sustainable, but that's what the number is, adding that the outcome of the trade dispute will be fine and that he'll meet with President Xi in South Korea in a couple of weeks. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, meanwhile, says, "I think that things have de-escalated. We hope that China will show the respect that we've shown them, and I'm confident that President Trump, because of his relationship with President Xi, will be able to get things back on a good course." Meanwhile, the head of the World Trade Organization has urged the US and China to de-escalate trade tensions, warning that a decoupling by the world's two largest economies could reduce global economic output by 7% over the longer term. Well, the US two-year Treasury yield rose to 3.47%, while the 10-year pushed back above 4%. Markets pricing in a 95% chance the Fed funds rate will be cut by 25 basis points at the next meeting at the end of the month. The US dollar index was down around 0.5% on Friday. The Aussie is currently trading at 65 US cents. Oil prices managed small gains on Friday, but were headed for a weekly loss of around 3% after the International Energy Agency forecast a growing glut, and US President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin agreed to meet again to discuss Ukraine. Brent crude futures, they were up around 0.5% at around $61 a barrel. Copper was off more than 0.5% at the end of last week, while iron ore fell 1.3% to $103 a tonne. And the gold price pulled back after hitting a record high above $4,300 an ounce. Spot gold down more than 1.5% at around $4,250. And Bitcoin is trading at around $109,000. It is a quiet week locally on the data front, with RBA Governor Michelle Bullock speaking on Friday, while we'll get the Global Purchasing Managers Indices for the month on Friday also. Overseas today, New Zealand's inflation data for the September quarter. And there's a data dump from China with September quarter GDP, retail sales and production for September, as well as a decision on its loan prime rates. Thursday, US initial jobless claims are expected along with home sales, while on Friday, US PMIs, along with inflation data for September and consumer sentiment. However, the US government shutdown may prevent the release of the official data. On the corporate calendar today, quarterly updates are expected from Pantoro Gold, Yancoal and Zip, while Tabcorp and XRF Scientific are due to hold AGMs. That is your day ahead. See you again tomorrow.